Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope y'all are having a great day where you are. I'm doing pretty well where I am. So today is a vintage dishware haul, or I should say like antique vintage dish haul. This video has kind of been in the making. Several months back I asked if y'all would be interested in this type of content, and 94% of y'all said yes, and I have continuously mentioned that here on my channel, but I just wanted to reiterate it here today in this video. I'm only going to be focusing on one dish pattern because I feel like this kind of set it off for me to continue to go down the path of antique shopping and vintage shopping, and kind of more or less embracing that side of myself where I've always had an interest in that. Before I show you the dish pattern that I bought, I did want to give you a little bit of background on it because I like to read up on patterns that I'm interested in, kind of get a background story on it since it is considered vintage. I've always have been interested in the era between the 1500s all the way up to the early 1900s. I really like the Regency era of time and the Victorian era. Regency is the early 1800s, and then the Victorian era is towards the end of the 1800s, kind of slowly going into the 1900s. Growing up, I have my cheat sheet here for the information on the pattern that I'm going to show y'all. But growing up, my parents would always take us to a lot of historical places in colonial homes, plantations, and we would take tours. And I always was fascinated with the interior of the homes, the windows, the doors, the wallpaper, the dining rooms, the big spaces, and they would stage how it would look during that era and that time. And I've always loved that. I grew up around people in my family that was kind of into decorating their homes with that type of furnishings, and it just kind of stuck with me. So it's always been something that's been an interest of mine. I just always haven't had the time to fully, take a full interest in it. But if you're new to my channel, our last child graduated from high school, and I just feel like I have more free time on my hands to explore all the other things that have always interest me. And going antiquing and vintage shopping is something that I've always done here and there. I've talked about that on my channel when I've done shopping hauls, and let you know that I went to a local boutique, I went to a local antique shop, and I picked this up in my area. Also, if you're new to my channel, I live in Ohio. My husband is from Ohio, and where I live out in the country, we have a lot of historical towns in our area, and they've taken the downtown and they have turned them into boutique shops where they carry vintage things and antique things. We also have lots of antique malls. I predominantly live around where I see a lot of Mennonites. Where my husband's family lives, they have Mennonites and Amish. We do go to Amish country and, explore that area, shop there. I've done that before in the past. So I just live in an area where antique shopping malls are very accessible to me. So I love that. But a little backstory. A couple of years ago, I got rid of my Christmas dishes. They were really worn down. I had them since Dan and I first got married, and every holiday season, I like to switch out my dishes and kind of theme it out. And a few years back, my Christmas dishes were getting really worn down because I have had them since Dan and I got married, and we've been married now for 31 years, so that tells you how old the dishes were. And Dan and I were like, we need to get some new Christmas dishes. But whenever anyone had ever came over to our house for the seasons and the holidays, I would always serve our meals in our formal dining room. And as the invite grew and the people grew, then I started serving in our formal dining room and in our kitchen area. And I always brought out my china that we registered for when we got married, and I bring out the Christmas dishes. And over time, like I said, the Christmas dishes started like busting and breaking and cracking. So I didn't have as many dishes as I did people, or I should say place settings. So it was slowly getting to the point where I knew I was going to be needing a new set of holiday dishes. And this past Christmas, or I should say this past Thanksgiving, I hosted, and one of my family members was telling a friend of mine who's from our church family, was letting them know that, yeah, Rachel used to serve during the holidays on her fine china and like Christmas dishes, and she'd bring out her silver and, and everything, but she hasn't done that in years. And now she's kind of like, does paper plates. And it's not because I chose to do that. It's because I didn't have enough place settings for everyone. And I wasn't going to do, okay, well, you eat on china and you eat on paper plates. Like it's all or nothing. And I didn't want to settle for any type of holiday dishes. And what I was finding in the retail stores or the big box stores wasn't really what I was after. I just wasn't finding what I liked. And I was looking for something unique, something out of the ordinary, something that you just don't find every day. And this past Christmas, just before, like back in early December, Dan and I ran into an antique store really quick in our area, and didn't have a lot of time to stay, so I didn't have a lot of time to look, but came home, and it was getting close to our Disney trip, and then Christmas came, and then the 1st of January came, and then it was getting close to our Disney trip. And Dan said, still haven't found any, those dishes that you're quite looking for. And I said, no, I haven't. And he said, honey, he goes, I know the type, I know what you're looking for, and I don't think you're going to find it in retail. He said, I think you might be able to find it in an antique store. And I was like, I think you're right. And it's like this light bulb went off in my head. And he's like, I think you're really looking for that vintage style dish, that antique, dishes that just aren't, produced anymore. They've been retired. He goes, I know you, and I know what you like, and I know what eras you like, and I think you could find what you want in an antique store. So we went on ahead, went to Disney. While we were in Disney during our downtime, I was actually like just looking on my phone, and I found this beautiful pattern that I liked. So we got back, got settled, kind of got busy with some other things, and then I think it was around April. We went to one antique store. We're like, let's go check it out. It was an antique mall in my area. They probably have about 300 vendors, and it's probably as big as 2 football fields. It was one of the bigger ones in my area. And started looking, because you really got to look, because some of these booths are like filled. And what I love about it is that some of the people that rent the booth out actually stage it for that era and that time, and I think that's really cool. But started looking, and I had found one online that I liked. And I also watch a lot of different YouTube channels. You would be like surprised at the different channels I watch. One is Early American, and that's Ron and Justine, and they they, you know, do a mock setup of the early, you know, 1800s, and she makes meals in that space. And then they have another channel where they then show you them eating the food and Ron's take on, you know, what she ate. And I can't remember the name of that channel. What is the name of it? Oh my goodness. I can't think of it right now. It's something Patriot. Frontier Patriot. So I don't know if you're familiar with those two channels. And then I also like to watch the U.S. National Archive channel where they do like the kitchens of tomorrow, you know, kind of like the carousel of progression in Tomorrowland at Walt Disney World. Anyway, those are the type of channels I like to watch, where they do mock setups and they kind of live in that era. But anyway, she had this blue dish that she brought out in one of her videos, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful. So I started to do some research, and I found a pattern I really liked. And it is called, and I'm going to show y'all the dishes, but it's called the Stratwood Collection by Shakespeare. It's the Stratwood Collection Shakespeare Country Blue by Homer Laughlin. So a little backstory, back in 1872, East Liverpool, Ohio, the city council got together and they were going to offer anyone $5,000 that was willing to open up a production line, a factory, to make whiteware, you know, meaning dinnerware, but they called it whiteware back then. And Homer and Shakespeare won the bid, and they opened up, well, I should say, I wrote it down. So they accepted the offer from the city council in 1873, October, and then they broke ground in October, but the production started September 1st, 1874. And the two brothers were actually from Ohio. They lived in Beaver Creek, which was near Liverpool, Ohio, in the Ohio River. 1877, Homer bought Shakespeare's shares in the company, and he renamed it Homer Laughlin. And then in 1896, they renamed it Homer Laughlin China Company. Now, the pattern I'm going to show you was produced between 1936 and 1956. Where my pattern fell on that production line, I don't know. It's a discontinued pattern, so you're not going to find it in your big box stores, but you can find it in your antique stores, your vintage stores. You just kind of have to hunt it down. So I kind of marked it because I loved the pattern. It made me think of the Regency era. So, which is, hopefully I say this right, the Bridgerton era. If you watch that show on Netflix, then you know what I'm talking about. The beautiful dresses, the beautiful parasol umbrellas, the top hats. Like, I love that. If I could still wear clothes like they did back then during the Regency era, I would. But people would probably look at me weird if I went to the grocery store dressed like that. But anyway, we went to the antique store. I was prepared to take my time about finding this pattern because I know that when you're looking for discontinued vintage dish patterns, you have to kind of hunt it down. Well, as we were going through the store, I just lucked out. I lucked out because there was the pattern, booth 31. I'll never forget it. Booth 31, and there was 8 dinner plates, 8 bowls, and then 8 7-inch salad plates, and then a platter. Now, I kept looking for the pricing on them, and I couldn't find it. Sometimes the booth runners will have like a card, and it'll tell you, you know, 8 this, 8 that, you know, and it'll give you a final price. Sometimes they're willing to sell the pieces individual, and each piece is marked, or only one piece is marked, and it says for the whole set. The point is, I wasn't finding anything. I checked every plate, every bowl, and every little salad plate. I even checked the platter. I couldn't find a price. So I took one of the plates. I told Dan, stay here. I'm going to go to the front and see if they could help me. So I brought one plate with me, and I said, this plate came from booth 31. I'm not finding a price on any of it. Now, I had already did my research online regarding the price of these plates. If you're interested, I'm winning 8 place settings, okay? So the average dinner plate for this collection, someone on Etsy was selling them $10 a plate. So if I wanted 8, that alone was $80 just on the plates. Someone else was selling 8 dinner plates, which is what I needed, for $100. And I mean, the price just goes on and on. The bowls, I wrote down the bowls, 4 for $13. One person was 4 for $24. Somebody wanted $23 for the platter. I even went to replacement.com, which is a dishware website where if you need just one replacement of something, you can see if they carry it. Because this is a discontinued piece, anything coming from them regarding this pattern would be used. But they had this pattern on their website and it was discontinued, so all of their stuff was listed used. But if I had gotten 8 place settings plus the platter, it was going to run me $247.75. And that did include shipping, handling, and tax. So when I saw these plates, I was this 8-piece place setting, I was very intrigued at how much, because I wanted it. So I took the plate up to the front. I said I was at booth 31, and she said, well, let's pull it up. She pulled up who was running the booth, and she said, well, we can call them. Her name's Lisa. And she called her, and she says, I have a customer here at the antique mall. She's holding one of your items, and it doesn't have the price. She flipped the plate over, gave the information on the plate, and she said, she wrote down 290. She's on the phone, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, she wants $290 for all 8 place settings plus the platter. But then she wrote down another 0, and I'm like, 2,900? I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna have to pass. And she hung up the phone, and she goes, $29. And I said, $29 a plate, $29 a place setting? Like, what? And she goes, no, $29 for all of it. And I already had known what the prices online were. And I was like, are you kidding? And she's like, nope, including the platter. So I went back, and Dan and I bought all 8 place settings plus the platter. I was so excited to get it home because I can't find this in the stores, and I just wasn't pleased. I kept looking and looking in the stores, and I'm talking about every year. I kept looking and looking, and I just didn't like it. Just felt too commercialized, and I just wanted something that was a little more unique and kind of hard to find. Part of the fun of antique shopping is the hunt for that specific item you're looking for. So here it is. I'm going to show you the platter first. It is absolutely gorgeous. I love the ivy, and I just love the scenery. I love it. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, this is a big platter. It covers my face. It is right there. I absolutely love it. I love the village. I think it's beautiful. This is the dinner plate, and it is right here. And it's the Stratwood Collection Shakespeare Country, made in the USA, right there on the back. And that is the dinner plate. And then I love the salad. You can use it as a salad plate or a dessert plate, but it's got the church scene on it. And I think that is absolutely beautiful. And then the beautiful, they call it the cereal bowl. And I just love I love the carriage. I love the carriage on this one. It's right there. If y'all can see the scenery in there. It's it's the scenery on these dishes that I like. It's not like I'm going into a box store and just finding a white plate. I mean, right now it's like white plates, and that's fine, but that's just not me. I want I want scenery on my plate, and I want it to be charming and vintage looking. And the fact that I found these plates that are discontinued, and yeah, I'm just really excited about it. So if you are going to serve, let me show you. So you can serve it like this at your table setting. So it can go like this. Look how beautiful that looks. And then if you're going to have a soup first, you can do it like that. And like I said, I got 8 place settings. I'll show you how I store them right now. But these are even beautiful to put out on display when you're doing decor around the house. I like doing stuff like that. But like I said, I was really excited. I do have other things that I have bought. I'm working on another pattern right now. That one's hard to find. I'm lucky if I find at least one piece. Sometimes I get lucky and I find 3 in one store, and then sometimes I go to another big store and I don't find anything. So I'm constantly on the hunt for that china. And then I ended up picking up some china, which I'll share with you in another video in a shopping haul, where I didn't know that it was even worth what it was worth. I just fell in love with the pattern, but that's how it is. Right now, guys, I'm a collector. I'm not a reseller, even though I know someone who is heavy into reselling, and they're like, you need to get into reselling. And I'm like, right now, I'm just happy being a collector and using the things that I'm collecting to enhance the interior of my home. If you follow me long enough, then you know I love dark wood furniture, walnut, mahogany, cherry, oak, deep walnuts, and then I kind of offset it in my home with white pieces and then cool tones on the wall. So I'm just having fun right now. I do have a restoration video coming out for y'all. I don't know if you're going to see that first, then this one. And in a couple of weeks, Dan and I are headed to up where his parents live, because we're picking up something there that we're going to be doing a restoration on, and I'm very excited. So, but yeah, I'll show you really quick how or where I store these. And guys, we have already used these plates, and yeah, I'm loving them. So let me show you really quick where I store them. So right there, guys, in my china cabinet that I have in the formal dining room, this is where I store them. So here are all the salad plates. There are all the bowls back there. And then I have this nice stand here where I store all the plates. And you can get these stands. I found you can get these at antique stores. I've seen them in different styles. You can also get them online as well, but that is how I store those right there. Having them stored that way really makes them easy accessible for me to get them out and use them. And like I said, we have already ate off those plates, and I like the idea that I can actually use them for a decor piece in the home to display how pretty they are. I do love the blue ivy that goes around it. I don't know, I'm just so excited that I found them, because they were on my short list. I do have a short list of things that I'm looking for, and then I have a long list of like future, but if I happen to come across it, I get excited too. Dan and I are having a lot of fun picking up things here and there. It's very nostalgic for the both of us. Some things remind us of our grandmothers, great-grandma, or Dan's great-grandmother. He sees something and remembers something about, you know, oh, that used to be, something like that used to be in my great-grandmother's home. And also things that we had as kids too in our own home. So yeah, I'm having a good time picking up pieces here and there and putting those different touches inside our house. So be on the lookout for other shopping hauls that I want to share with y'all. Hopefully you're enjoying some of this new content that I have brought to the channel. So guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Let me know what you think about the pattern, and if you're into antique vintage shopping. Someone did ask me on Instagram if I was going to be including any Goodwill thrift hauling. We have one Goodwill store in our area that's accessible, that's close to me without me having to drive really far. And that store I've been in, it's nice. It's about it's half the size of a Hobby Lobby. It's a small one. And 85% of it is all clothes and very up to date, nothing really vintage clothes wise in there. And they have a small little section of home interior things. And the time that I went in, I didn't find anything that was like I would consider, you know, from the early 1900s, and it was a lot of modern today items that like I saw something and I was like, oh, that came from Hobby Lobby. I remember seeing that at Hobby Lobby, you know. So my store's just not big enough, so I'm primarily probably just going to be sticking to my locally private owned stores in my area and all the surrounding areas in the antique mall. So, but anyway, guys, thank you so much for stopping by today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to leave comments down below. I'm usually quick to respond. So till next time, guys, y'all have a magical day and a magical week. I'll see you later. Bye, guys. Y'all take care.